Warning, this content may be disturbing to some audiences. Subscribe. If you dare.
Don't start budgeting in a few years, start now. Heck, even if you're in high school and flipping burgers on the weekend. Hey everybody, welcome to ANECDOSED. People ask Reddit. What simple piece of advice, if followed, could potentially save most people a lot of money?
Number 1.
I like to think, how many hours did I need to work to buy this item? So if something is $100, I would have to work a full 8-hour day plus a half an hour the next day. Then I usually put whatever item that is out of my mind unless I need it.
Number 2.
Commenter. That's kind of a cool trick. What I do is don't take the thing around the store with me, I'll leave it on the shelf. Look around the rest of the store and whatnot, and if I still want it. Well, I've kind of had to decide I wanted it twice. It's not perfect, but it has saved me some money. Person B. Don't buy it right now, buy it next week. You'll probably forget about half the stuff you'd have thrown your money at in the spur of the moment. Person C. When I was a kid, I'd ask my mom for something and she'd say, if you still want it in a week, we'll get it. Most of the time I would just forget about it. I now use it on my own kids. So much money saved. Person D. That's worked so many times for me. I'm horrible with money, and tend to make impulse buys. I've started doing this. Anything I want to buy, I make myself wait a week and see if I remember it, and then if I still want it. Person E. I actually use this approach with kids. If they see something in the store, and they really want it, I'll tell them to remember the item, and we'll pick it up next time we are at this store, and the kid asks for it, assuming it's within reason, of course. Almost every single time, the kid forgets, and really appreciates it when they don't forget, as they wanted it that badly. Of course, it doesn't work if your wife reminds them that they wanted this one toy. Smile.
Number 3.
Commenter. Only buy things on sale if they are already on your wish list. Person B. Like. This is the most basic and obvious but most transgressed rule of savings. It's not a sale if you had no intention of buying the good/service to begin with. You didn't save 50% on that shirt you didn't need. You spent half as much as you normally would have spent. Person C. My mom is so bad for this. Well, it's cheaper to buy 2. No, mom, it's cheaper to buy 0. Person D. My girlfriend sometimes tries to buy things because she has a coupon. I always tell her that it makes no sense to buy things for the sake of using a coupon. Person E. This is exactly my mom. But look, if you buy 2 you get the third free. Right, but the thing is I only wanted 1.
Number 4.
Commenter. I don't think that's completely true, but it's probably good advice for most people. I would say you should only buy things you need, or which you can justify on a cost/benefit analysis, and which fit into your budget. You should apply this to everything you plan to buy, including stuff you happen to see on sale. Don't worry if they say it's on sale or not, just look at the price and use logic. Perhaps your work boots are getting old but will still be good for another year or so. If you happen upon a going out of business sale where you see a single pair of very nice leather work boots which happen to fit you perfectly and are 80% off, maybe it's a good idea to buy them. Even though you weren't planning on buying boots for another year. You can still use your old boots until they fall apart, and then switch to the new ones which you got at a price you'd be unlikely to find again. Person B. I do this to the extreme. I've needed a new TV for about a year now. My current one is malfunctioning. I've kept on putting it off, and I am finally now getting to the point where I'm going to purchase a new TV. Every purchase I make, with the exception of necessities, is a planned, thought-out process.
Number 5.
I always had a tactic I used when shopping with a friend. I don't take a cart when non-grocery shopping. That way, if I see something I want, I have to carry it. If, by the time I get to the checkout and I haven't put it down, or stuffed it on a shelf somewhere, I buy it. Carrying something in your hands around through a store while your friend tries on every sweater in every variety of the color blue means you really want it. If you get bored with it, or ditch it, know you didn't want it.
Number 6.
Commenter. If you use it often and it's not perishable, buy in bulk. Especially if it's on special offer. I've seen guys waste money coming in week after week for a few razor blades, a 3-pack instead of a 12-pack, purely because the small pack is cheaper. No bro, work it out per blade and the 12-pack is cheaper. This works with almost 90% of goods. Person B. If yes. This is probably the best advice in the thread. I am shocked by how many people I have taught this to. My mother explained it to me when I was 12, and it has been a major factor in my grocery purchases. That small pack of paper towels might be cheaper, but the big pack is minus 2 cents a sheet instead of 5 cents a sheet. Person C. This is a huge comment, and vastly underrated. Ironically, is also why the very poor have trouble saving money on purchases. People with enough savings to buy in bulk save tons of money by doing so. Living paycheck to paycheck often forces people to buy smaller portions at a higher cost per unit. The lesson here is to plan your purchases. Even if you can't afford to buy everything in bulk upfront, track your purchases and look at opportunities for savings. If you buy something on a regular basis, convert that single item to a bulk purchase. Over time, you will build the stockpile and savings that you need to get into a sustainable pattern of bulk purchasing and get ahead of the curve. Person D. Not always. For many items, bigger bulk packaging can be more expensive per unit. This is because companies realize people grab the largest size without comparing. So your last advice is really the one to follow. Work out the price per unit on everything. Don't assume bulk is cheaper. Couple of examples: smaller Tide brand detergent, Heinz ketchup. Person E. Buying in bigger packages usually works out to be cheaper, but not always. Especially at club warehouses like Costco or Sam's Club. Yes, those places have some really great deals on large quantities of many things. But there's also cases where buying the store brand at the local supermarket still works out to be significantly less per unit. At Costco in our area, I find that the best savings are on cleaning products. If you are buying in large quantities, food can often be gotten at a much better price at a local restaurant supply place. Where I am, they are open to the general public, and their meat is 20 to 50% less than at Costco, which is in turn 20 to 40% less than the grocery store. Hard to argue with beef rib roast for $5.50 a pound. Person F. Also, don't buy in bulk if it's something that has an expiration date and you won't be able to finish it all. Saving 20% and throwing 20% away is just a waste of money, nutrition, and only ruins the environment. Also, buying huge amounts usually makes people spend more. When I buy a bottle of shampoo that is huge, it rarely lasts much longer than when I buy a really small one because I use the small one so sparingly. I bought a 1-liter bottle of the exact same kind that I usually buy with a 0.25 liters bottle, and it barely lasted 3 times as long. Barely ended up cheaper.
Number 7.
Commenter. Pay yourself first. When you get paid, systematically put some into savings. Decide your percentage beforehand, 10% for example, and do it every time. Person B. Except if you can't pay all your bills. Then stop this and pay your effing bills. Then if you can, I'd like to add to that. Don't touch your savings. This savings isn't for that new PlayStation or remodeling your kitchen. It's for your old ass when you can't/don't want to work anymore. Person C. This. I hate the pay yourself first advice. If you're barely scraping by, it just doesn't work. Sure, sock some money into savings before buying that PS4, but not before paying the electric bill. I feel like the advice misses its target audience. Person D. If you are in this situation, you should first assess which bills are needs versus wants. If you can't pay your bills, you probably need to refinance your debt, move to a new apartment, cancel your cell phone/TV/internet, or look at your energy consumption. I would put saving some money above all of these as far as needs go. Dwindling savings are a large part of the disappearing middle class.
Number 8.
Commenter. Don't start budgeting in a few years, start now. Heck, even if you're in high school and flipping burgers on the weekend. The ability to create and stick to a budget will make a massive difference to your life. Once you begin to budget your money, you'll quickly realize where you're blowing your money on stupid shit. Set a limit for the fun stuff, but also have savings, a contingency plan, and you can save up for something you really want. Person B. Doing a budget for a few years now and having a healthy emergency fund. I cannot express how nice it is to not feel stress when the car breaks down or the dog needs a vet visit. I no longer have to worry about where the money will come from. Best feeling in the world.
Number 9.
Commenter. Don't get in credit card debt, especially store cards. I'm looking at you, Walmart. Some of these cards have interest rates of 18%. Person B. On a similar note, don't get into money lenders. My friend had to borrow £50, ended up paying £110 when she couldn't pay it back initially. Person C. I watched a girl get F over hard with store cards once. I worked at Best Buy, and this young girl and 3 young guys came in. The girl wanted to open up a store card. Naturally, we were suspicious as they all appeared under 18. We checked and double-checked the info she gave us, and the bank said she was good to go. She was given a card with 4.5%, or about that, APR, and a $3,000 limit, and no interest for 6 months, if I recall. She went about buying a PS3, PSP, games and accessories for each of the guys she was with. Turns out they were her BF and his 2 best friends. She completely maxed out the card with those purchases, a laptop, and movies. All in the span of a few hours. Of course the management was ecstatic. A huge sale and a credit card enrollment. Girl came 7 months or so later, crying her eyes out, on the verge of going mental. Turns out she forgot to read the fine print. If the card isn't at $0 balance after the 6 months, you are not only charged the interest for all items that were purchased within those 6 months, but you are billed at your new interest rate of 21%. The girl was crying and making a scene. Her BF had left her shortly after her purchase. He wouldn't return the items to her nor compensate her for her purchases. She worked part-time for minimum wage, and didn't expect to have to pay this much. Unfortunately, there wasn't anything they were willing to do to help the girl out. But to be fair, I don't think the credit card was her only mistake. Person D. Don't get into small debt at all if you can avoid it. By small debt I mean credit cards, payday loans, cash advances, financing you can't pay, etc. I only take debt for big things that you absolutely can't save up for in a reasonable time span, like mortgage on a house, loan on a car, or student debt assuming you get a job to pay it off. Having a plan to mitigate debt, such as selling the house and paying off the loan, is a good idea to have as well. That said, I like my credit cards. If you pay them off in full every month, they charge you no fees and you get cash back or other rewards plus convenience. Person E. If you absolutely must use a credit card, use one from a credit union. The interest rates are much lower. My bank offers 4.5% at the lowest, and often will not charge interest as long as you make voluntary payments that are greater than what the minimum payment would be. Person F. Credit is incredibly useful and the rewards incentives can really add up, but too many people use it as an excuse to buy things they simply can't afford. Never spend more on credit than you can pay off immediately when the bill is due, and never go for a credit card that doesn't have a grace period on interest.
Number 10.
Commenter. Quit smoking. Person B. According to my smoking app, I quit 198 days ago, and have saved $4,774. Person C. A pack is $13 here in NYC. I smoke a pack and a half a day. I wish I could go back in time and smack the shit out of the younger me for taking up the habit. Person D. The cost of cigarettes is a lot, but I think that many people neglect to consider the inevitable medical costs. Emphysema can cost from the thousands well into the tens of thousands per year, which does not even include the costs on work/income either for the patient or their friends and family. Lung cancer isn't any easier or cheaper. Make sure to share your personal story in the comments below and have the opportunity to be featured in a future video. Also, if you like these topics, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button to continue seeing more content like this every day. See you next time.